All right, you are not going to believe this one. The character you know and love for his pipe, his anchor tattoos, and of course his spinach has gotten one of the wildest, most unhinged makeovers I have ever seen. We're talking about a total transformation from a beloved hero into, well, something else entirely.
It all comes down to this one simple question. What happens when the legal armor protecting a character that's been a part of our childhoods for almost a century, just disappears? What crawls out of the woodwork when that happens? You get this, a low-budget, ridiculously gory slasher film where our spinach-chomping sealer is now a mutated, mindless killing machine. And nope, I am not kidding. This is a real movie. It exists, and we are about to break down just how insane it is. So here's the game plan. We're going to meet this new monstrous Popeye. Then we'll walk through the absolutely bonkers plot of this movie. After that, we'll get into the legal twist that made this all possible in the first place, touch on the original weird Popeye legend, and finally, see what's next for the Sailor Man. Okay, first up, a not-so-sailor man. I want you to take everything you know about the hero Popeye and just, throw it out the window. This is something else. I mean, the difference here is just night and day. The classic Popeye, he fought bullies like Bluto to protect the innocent. This new guy, he's a monster created by tainted spinach from some corrupt factory. The hero we know saves the day. This one will brutally end it for literally anyone who gets in his way. And that brings us to the movie itself. To say it's a bloodbath is, frankly, an understatement. This film just racks up a body count with this kind of creative B-movie absurdity that is, well, it's really something to see. The movie sets its tone from the first minute. Popeye shows up, saves a woman by just crushing a guy's skull, and then when she calls him a monster instead of thanking him, he kills her too. There are no heroes here, folks, just pure, unfiltered carnage. And the film's commitment to just over-the-top violence is on full display. A security guard gets stomped into a cartoon pancake. A woman gets her entire scalp ripped off from the other side of a locked door. And for the grand finale, a guy confronts Popeye only to have his arm torn clean off and then get beaten to death with it. And of course, the victims are basically following a how to die in a horror movie checklist. They split up immediately, they get distracted, they even run towards a dead-end pier when they're being chased. It's a perfect masterclass in what not to do. And just when you think it can't get any more ridiculous, the movie's little romance subplot between two of the crew members ends with them falling and getting, well, shish kebabbed together on a piece of rebar. A true cinematic love story. Okay, so after all that chaos and gore, you're probably asking the exact same question I was. How? How on earth is a movie like this even allowed to exist without getting sued into another dimension? This isn't just about one goofy horror movie, you see. It's about a really big shift in creative freedom. And the answer, it comes down to two little words. The public domain. Once a work's copyright runs out, and it takes a long time, it basically becomes public property. Anyone can copy it, adapt it, or, turn its main character into a grotesque monster, all without asking permission or paying a dime. And Popeye's journey to get here was a long one. He first showed up way back in 1929. So after 95 years, on January 1st, 2024, that original comic strip version of the character officially entered the public domain. And boom, the floodgates were open. But here's the catch. It doesn't apply to everything about the character. The original 1929 Popeye is fair game, but his famous rival Bluto, who was introduced later, still protected by copyright. That's why you won't see him in this movie. It's the same deal we saw with Steamboat Willie, Mickey being public domain, while the modern Mickey with the Bruvs is still very much off limits. So now that we get the how, let's have a little fun with the who, because it turns out the original Popeye comics had their own brand of weirdness that honestly could rival this horror movie. Get this, the whole spinach thing, it wasn't even there from the start. In his very first comic strip appearances, Popeye got his super strength by petting a magical creature called Bernice the Wiffle Hen. Seriously, it was only later on that they swapped the magic hen for a can of spinach. And that one little creative decision to switch from a mythical bird to a common vegetable had an unbelievably huge impact on the real world. This wasn't just some cartoon quirk. It became a cultural phenomenon.
I mean, check this out. During the Great Depression, Popeye's popularity caused spinach sales in the US to jump by 33%. The character was so influential that spinach growers in Crystal City, Texas, actually put up a statue of Popeye to thank him. A statue.
So, where does this all go from here? Now that Popeye's out in the wild, is this gory slasher movie just a one-off gimmick? Oh, not a chance. The horror is just getting started. This movie is just the first drop in the bucket. There are at least 2 other Popeye horror projects already in the pipeline. It looks like we are officially entering the era of the Popeye slasherverse. But beneath all the campy gore, there's actually a theme here. The movie is pretty clear that Popeye became a monster because he ate contaminated food from a negligent factory. So the real villain isn't Popeye, it's a lack of food safety. A weirdly relevant message wrapped up in this crazy B-movie package. And really, that's the big takeaway. For better or for worse, this is the new reality. Our most beloved cultural icons will eventually belong to everyone, to be remixed, reimagined, and sometimes, twisted into something completely unrecognizable.
This is just the beginning. We've seen Winnie the Pooh, we've seen Mickey Mouse, and now Popeye get the horror treatment. It really leaves us with one fascinating and maybe slightly terrifying question. Which beloved character is next on the chopping block?